It's a moment seared in Kim Scott's memory. She was an up-and-coming Silicon Valley executive working at Google. She had just finished what she thought was a killer presentation for co-founder Sergey Brin and then CEO Eric Schmidt, when her boss, Sheryl Sandberg, pulled her aside for a chat.
I thought, oh boy, I screwed something up. Maybe I didn't nail it as like I thought I did. And Sheryl started the conversation by telling me about the things that had gone well in the meeting. But of course, all I wanted to hear about was what I had done wrong. And eventually she said, you said a lot in there. Were you aware of it? And now I breathed a huge sigh of relief, because if that was all I had done wrong, who really cared? And I kind of made this brush-off gesture with my hand. And she stopped. She looked right at me. And she said, I can see when you do that thing with your hand that I'm going to have to be a lot more direct with you. When you say every third word, it makes you sound stupid. Now, she has my full attention.
Sandberg suggested she see a speech coach and said that Google would pay for it.
And it really got me to thinking, what was it about Sheryl that made it so seemingly easy for her to tell me? But also, why had nobody told me for 15 years? It was like I'd been walking through my whole career with a hunk of spinach between my teeth, and nobody had had the courtesy to tell me it was there.
It was a dose of clarity that helped inspire a management style Kim calls radical candor. In that moment, Sandberg, who would later write Lean In, combined leadership, humanity, and directness. It was guidance, mixing praise and criticism aimed at helping Kim be better at her job and a better boss to the team she was leading.
Very often people treat their bosses like tyrants to be toppled. They treat their peers like enemy combatants. They treat their employees like pawns on a chessboard. And that's kind of what happens when you're just professional and you're not seeing the people you work with as fellow human beings. Being professional can be dangerous because it leads to apathy. So at the very least, you want to give a damn about the people who you work with.
Kim created a simple 2x2 grid to explain the philosophy she explores in her book, Radical Candor, Be a Kick-Ass Boss Without Losing Your Humanity. She says to be a great leader, you need to blend two critical things, caring personally and challenging directly.
A really important part of radical candor is being willing to bring your whole self to work. To be more than just professional. You got to bring your whole self to work. So that's part of it.
How do you know the balance between what some may say is professional and some may say being kind of personal at work? Where do you strike the balance?
The balance always gets measured at the other person's ear. So you don't want to be creepily personal, but you do want to take a moment to just care about the other person as a human being. So that's kind of the care personally dimension.
And then there's the other side of the equation, challenge directly.
Unfortunately, the Beatles got it wrong. Love is not all you need. You also need the other dimension. You also need the challenge directly dimension of radical candor. Colin Powell said that leadership is often about being willing to piss people off. So this is the willing to piss people off dimension. And we get told if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. And now all of a sudden you become a boss and it's your job to say it. So figuring out how to be willing to say the thing that might upset the other person because they need to hear it, because you do care about them, is the essence of radical candor.
If you miss the mark, you veer into three danger areas: obnoxious aggression, manipulative insincerity, and ruinous empathy.
What happens when you care too much or when you don't care at all?
So the bottom quadrant is what I call obnoxious aggression. We are all occasionally jerks to each other, unfortunately, where we're so focused on criticizing something or fixing a problem that we forget to take a second to show that we care about the person we're talking to. So that's obnoxious aggression.
All right, what are the other three?
So when you fail on both dimensions at the same time, and we all do, I call it manipulative insincerity. So when you neither show you care nor challenge directly, that's manipulative insincerity. That's passive-aggressive behavior. It's also sort of the self-protective quadrant. I'm really busy, I'm really mad, I just don't have time to deal with this. I'm going to go shut my door and do my own work.
And it may work in the short term.
It's not going to work in the long run. And you yourself will be miserable if you hang out too long in manipulative insincerity or obnoxious aggression. So it's bad for your team. It's also bad for you.
And what's it called when you care too much?
So when you care so much that you're reluctant and unwilling to challenge directly, I call that ruinous empathy. And that is the biggest mistake. 85% of the time, that's the mistake that we make. At work and also, frankly, at home, is being so concerned about the other person's feelings that we're unwilling to tell them something that they could fix easily if we just told them that it was a problem.
The goal of this philosophy is to balance all of these elements and deliver praise and criticism through the prism of radical candor. To see Kim's ideas in action, we decided to visit Evernote, a company built on helping you organize your life. CEO Chris O'Neill has adapted the radical candor framework and is helping his team learn how to put it into action with a workshop that teaches them how to give and receive radically candid feedback.
I care deeply about people. That's the easier axis for me. But the being direct part doesn't come naturally to people. So you need to create the conditions and make it okay.
I guess I didn't understand the sense of urgency, and I did prioritize other projects. I appreciate you letting me know, because I had no idea.
Set the expectation and bring it into the open to make sure that people feel comfortable giving feedback. But it's definitely been a journey for me. It's a journey for us here at Evernote as well.